Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther the Third. Joe, Panther the Third.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to I would say,
Panther the Third.
hello there, wrestling fans. I would say that before's episode was the last live for the year, but I would yeah, it was echo, typical me. I would say before the last two episodes was the last live, but I figured why not go live before all the big fun stuff happens for the holidays. So today I bring a gentleman on from the UK. He wears the awesome Dassum jackets. He goes to the shows. He talks to the wrestlers. Welcome, dudes. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside, Mad Dog. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Joe. Absolutely great to join you today. And obviously, a huge shout out to all my American fans watching over in the USA. Morning time still over there. And good afternoon to everyone in the UK who's joined us. Any fans of Progress or TNT Extreme Wrestling, a big shout out to you all. And yeah, Joe, absolutely wonderful to join you. I know you've been doing this for a while. You've had some amazing guests on from the US and some great guests from the UK, I know as well. So, yeah, great to speak to you. A great opportunity to chat to you leading up to Christmas. And, the festive period is upon us. I've just been Christmas shopping today, and it's, Liverpool is where I live, and it was pretty chaotic over there today. So, yeah, just doing my Christmas shopping. But, yeah, ready to rock and roll and chat about some wrestling with you, my friends. So great to see you.
Awesome, man. Thank you. And, love your jacket, by the way. We look pretty dashing for the holidays, I think, I might add.
Good stuff. Yeah. And I threw my Christmas lights on as well, just to be
safe. I saw that when you ran over, you put it down before I started the intro. I was like, yes, I like this. So, Mad Dog, you said, you have some fans over in the US, but if anybody where I live in the tri-state area, the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, if they're not familiar with you, and why would they not be? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. So I'm the ring announcer for TNT Extreme Wrestling in Liverpool. We've been doing that for 10 years now up in Liverpool. So that's absolutely epic. And I have been the production manager for Progress Wrestling for the last 2.5 years until very recently when I became the front of house manager. So now when you arrive at the Electric Ballroom for Progress, I'm the first face you see on arrival. I chat to the fans in the crowd, make sure they've all got the right wristbands for getting into the venue, run the meet and greets and all that sort of side of things, and generally make sure everyone's having a good time. And in the week, I have two jobs that I do. One is Camp New York, where we actually send people from the UK to work on summer camps in the tri-state area of New York. So obviously, we send a lot of people from the UK to come over to New York and work in that area. And also we do wrestle tours where we take guests from the UK and around the world to different big wrestling shows and promotions over in the US. So the last couple of years we've done WrestleMania 39 and 40. So we've been to LA and Philly. And of course, we're really looking forward to WrestleMania 41 when we'll be bringing guests from the UK over to Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41, Joe. So hoping to see you there, my friend, if you're out and about.
I'm trying to get to Philly. I was trying to get to Philly. Didn't happen because I didn't think of it. Asked my dad in time for the tickets. But Vegas, I got to talk to my sister because she likes going to Vegas and people she knows likes to gamble. But we'll see. We'll see if we'll see if it really works out. So for you, where did it all start? Where did this love of professional wrestling start?
Yeah, well, I've been a fan since I was a kid. So in the UK, there used to be loads of video stores about the place. Like we could go and hire DVDs. There's no such thing as Netflix or YouTube back then. So you had to go and get the physical media, and it was we had a video shop called LA Video just at the top of my road. There's actually one of the only video shops in the UK still going is Snips in Bebington, which still exists. You can still go and hire videos and DVDs from them. Give them a big shout out, obviously, because they've still got all the videos and DVDs in there. But LA Video, I realized quite quickly that the wrestling videos, VHSs, were sort of 3 hours to 6 hours long. And that was me and my brother. That was me getting more of my time watching what I wanted to watch than him. I have to watch my 6 hour video. So, WrestleMania 4 was one of my favorites because it was the double VHS. And my passion for wrestling and fandom came from there, watching that. My next door neighbor gifted me a load of WWF magazines when I was younger. So this is sort of 1989 through to 91. Gifted me the whole load of magazines that he'd collected, and I had the whole stack, and I just used to read through them. So it's been, amazing for me to read back through them when I was younger, and then to meet Keith Elliott Greenberg at events and around the place, and he was the editor and writer of a lot of the articles in that, and to welcome him over to the UK. And obviously we saw him at AEW. He came along to Progress and enjoyed the show with us. So just for a full circle moment, that was pretty special. And then as I grew up with the Attitude Era, so I was lucky in that aspect, Joe, that it was, at probably one of the best periods of time in wrestling was as I was in my teenage years. So it was, the pop culture phenomenons of the time was South Park, WWF, WCW was massive at the time as well, and that led me on to finding ECW as well. So I was a huge fan of ECW. So so it was so special for me to be in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 40 and to chat to some of the guys from ECW. And I've just been very lucky that as my life has progressed, I've had opportunities to go to these great events. When I graduated from university in 2007, I went to WrestleMania 23 in Detroit as a bit of a treat for myself to celebrate graduating university. And I also went to WrestleMania 28 in Miami. So that was the once-in-a-lifetime Rock versus John Cena. And I've erased the second one from my memory. I'm happy with just having 28 as once in a lifetime.
Yeah. So then you got a chance to go to these manias. Do you ever feel like wow, I'm really doing this. I'm really in the middle of all this, because being the big the podcaster with the independent wrestling scene, do you ever feel like, wow, I'm really in this? These wrestlers know who you are. You get a chance to walk up to these young indie wrestlers like the Harley Hudsons and the Rihos. And does it hit you sometimes that you see these people and you're like, these people could be on the AEWs, they could be on the Impacts? Does it hit you? Has it hit you yet that you could possibly see any of these people in America and on the big stages?
Yeah, some of our best talent, the people you mentioned, Harley Hudson, Rio, people like that are over in the States at the moment, working hard. Leon Slater, Luke Jacobs, some of Progress's absolute best. Man like Darius, the guys from Lycos Gym are the guys I work with week in and week out and have done for years. Are over in the States working hard, and I'm in a great position where I get to obviously I've ring announced for 10 years in the UK, so I've seen these people come up through the ranks and seen them work their way up through the roster. And I've been lucky enough to be able to help them and to, focus on them and make their ring introduction, most importantly, the best it can be as they're making their way to the ring. Obviously, if I do any commentary, make sure put these guys over. And I've been very lucky as well to have so many contacts in the business and be able to chat to so many people that I can, in my way, sort of help them out as much as possible by saying, you need to check out this person, you need to see this person. And Lee McAteer from Progress always says, the Mad Dog is his eyes and ears on the ground in UK wrestling. I go to a lot of shows. I ring announce all over the country. If I have a free weekend, I'm at a wrestling show, scouting out the next great talent from the UK and making sure that we're helping everyone out as much as possible, because I don't feel like there was that environment in the past where people are trying to help each other. I think that, there was time when people were getting held back a little bit, if anything, and now it's, there's opportunities for people. There are positions available for them to progress and to, for someone like Leon Slater has just been an absolute shooting star. So it's absolutely great, and it makes my role better if I can help these people and make them the next stars and help them out. And another thing I like as well is when we have people over from the US, upcoming stars, and from Europe who come to Progress or come to TNT and visit us, and we can help them out. We've got guys training at Claw Academy in Liverpool who were who were getting on shows and who were getting out there all over Europe. And I was obviously lucky enough to work with Nick Wayne. When he came over for us, he was only probably 16 when he first came over to work at Progress. And, it's just been great to work with some of these people. But interestingly, Joe, today I looked back at the very first show I ever ring announced just to see, what the caliber of talent on the very first show I did for TNT back in 2015 was absolutely amazing. But a couple of names who stood out, who've progressed to being, known pretty much worldwide. Kip Sabian was in the very first match I ring announced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Joe Hendry was on the card when he was the local hero.
He said his name. He made
that's it. He could. You just never know. Anytime, it can happen anytime. But yeah, so
I had the video. I'd be like, "What? No!"
Yeah,
I was actually going to think about doing a mock video instead of Joe Hendry, Joe Panther, like just pop up at a wrestling show and just like. No, Joe, keep walking. You know what? I also forgot that you may have worked with. I feel bad, like I didn't say her name. She's probably gonna yell at you because you guys didn't talk about me during the show. Oh, she'll flip you off. Lizzie Avo, another big name.
Oh, Lizzie, yeah, amazing wrestler, and she'll love you, Joe, for that. But I'm happy to.
She talks to me all the time. She's gonna be like, "You didn't mention my name, Joe. But you haven't taken the invite to come on Dudes at Ringside night, Lizzie."
That's it.
For 3 years. 3 years I've been trying to get Lizzie
together. So we've got some amazing local talent. Obviously, Harley Hudson's been doing amazing recently, and Lizzie is just an absolute star. But one of my favorite feuds that we've had at TNT Extreme Wrestling in Liverpool was Lizzie and Alexis Falcon had some absolutely amazing matches over the course of a couple of years for TNT. And I believe all our stuff is getting put onto Triller and Fight TV at the moment. So it'd be definitely worth checking that out. But yeah, there was a couple of matches there. There was an I'm Women's match, which was just absolutely amazing. And one of my proudest ever moments was ring announcing that one. It was just one of them special moments. So yeah, definitely worth watching. I've had some. I've been lucky enough to ring announce some absolutely cracking matches over the years at TNT. And I've worked for so many other different promotions as well. I'd love to give a shout out to Wrestle Island. Those guys, I was on the Wirral for where I live. So did 8 years ring announcing with them. And the only unfortunate thing is at the moment, they seem to clash with Progress every show we're doing just because they're in two completely separate parts of the country. So, but I did make a special appearance back there last year. And it's a big shout out to Peter and Jody and the family who do a great job, with showcasing new and upcoming talents on the Wirral as well. So, yeah, good people. But I was lucky enough to ring announce matches such as you can YouTube all these if you want. But we did Will Ospreay versus Pete Dunne, was pretty epic back in 2017 in Liverpool, and that was when Pete had just won the WWE NXT UK English Championship that they had. So that was awesome to do that one. We've had sort of Pac versus Panther was on one of our shows just before AEW really got started. Leading up to that, and we had Ray Fenix versus El Fantasmo was on one of our shows. So I've been really lucky to ring announce and some of the absolute greats who are around at the moment. Some of the best performers in the business, and also all the up and coming talent that we've got in the UK. I've had the chance to ring announce those. So a big shout out to someone like Nathan Angel at the moment, who's over in Thailand, representing England in the Mr. England in the Mr. International competition there. So he has met up with Mr. USA this week, I believe. But best of luck So Nathan Angel in that, he's going to be an upcoming star in the wrestling and just, an overall absolute legend. So, be great to see him in the future in a wrestling ring. But yeah, it's just, Joe, we've got so many great talent, coming up for the UK. If you look back at the show we had just the other week, Vendetta 2 for Progress, we had as our last show. The talent on the card was absolutely amazing. Somebody like Lana Austin, I'm sure you've heard of, the superstar. Emerson Jane.
Trying to get her on the podcast too. Her husband and I were talking a few months ago, and we were getting close to getting something, and I guess maybe he got busy or forgot to. Can you continue the conversations? And I like interviewing one-on-one, but I also like getting a husband and wife. You know what I mean? A couple that you can make it like a wedding, have them turn their back and say, who has the most elaborate conversations? Who sneezes the most? Who farts the most in the car? Like, I want to get the husband and wife together and do a show together. But I don't know. I guess some people are afraid of podcasts, afraid they're going to say something stupid. But like, don't bring the drama. Just have fun. That's all I care about.
That's it. And you know what? They do so well with that, but they're both extremely talented people, and it's an absolute joy to work with them. But yeah, there's some great couples in wrestling as well. Oh, here's Louis. Big shout out to the lunatic, the driver of the crazy train, absolute legend. Looking forward to seeing him back at the Kingdom of Wrestling in Southport soon. And this is a guy who gets to so many shows, Joe. He's absolute legend. And he did mention to me just this week that he might be making his Progress debut, getting down to the Electric Ballroom at some point in 2025. So he's always welcome, and an absolute talented young man who helps me with the raffle, especially when we've been at the Kingdom of Wrestling in Southport. So, big shout out. I hope you're doing well, mate. Have a great Christmas if I don't see you before then. But, excellent. Our next show for Progress, Joe, is going to be unboxing on the 29th of December at the Electric Ballroom. So we've got that to look forward to. And that's a great show. I don't know if you're familiar with the format of that, but basically we have, we keep it all, it's all a surprise. So you don't know who's going to appear. You don't know what the matches are going to be. Anything can happen. And we've had some amazing surprises in the past. I believe me and myself and Wrestling with Johners are going to be breaking down some of the past surprises in a podcast in a week or two's time. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But there's one surprise that has been unboxed already because it's something we'd announced previously and had to push back. But Vikingo is going to be on the show, on unboxing on the 29th of December. So I'm sure he's somebody you're familiar with, Joe. Absolutely brilliant talent, and looking forward to welcoming him to the UK on the 29th of December.
Definitely. We'll ask Progress if you're allowed to send me the poster. I'll post it on the Dudes page on Instagram. I'll post it because I love helping you guys promote yourself and all your stuff you guys do within Progress. And even it's so funny because I live in tri-state area and I'm near New York. TNT feels so much like if they ever travel to the States and do one show, I would love to see them for H2O versus TNT. Like, one-on-one, just like a Survivor Series kind of show, like their wrestler versus our wrestler, American versus England. Like, let's see this hardcore versus hardcore. Who will survive? Like that That's kind of thing.
Well, TNT loves these inter-promotional wars. We did have BZW over from France and Belgium. We had those guys over last year at TNT versus BZW. The Battle Zone Combat Wrestling, but that was absolutely brilliant. And obviously we had GCW versus TNT the year before, and we do Effie's Big Gay Brunch in the UK at TNT as well. So we do a lot of crossovers and stuff, but that would be great to to take those guys on in New York. And it'd be great to tie together my different job roles that I do with Camp New York as well, and be over in New York and do the announcing for TNT there. MLJ came over to the UK to ring announce for GCW, and I did the TNT announcements whilst he did the GCW announcements, and that was pretty epic. So that was cool. So big shout out to MLJ. But talking about my American friends, Joe, I should give a big shout out to my good friend Justin Clapper, who has been very poorly at the moment. Actually, he's in hospital over in the States at the moment. But but him, myself, and Stu Palmer, who hosts Stu's Wrestling Podcast in the UK, are great friends and always keep in touch. We used to do the Wrestling Travel Podcast back in the day during like the lockdown period, so that's how we got to know each other. But just want to wish Justin all the best and hope he's feeling better, especially get him home for Christmas so he can have his Christmas lunch and everything and enjoy it with the family and friends that he's got there. So and hopefully I'm still fingers crossed hoping to meet up with him in the USA at some point as well for a wrestling show. That'd be the dream comes true sort of stuff. Or we'll get him over for the Love of Wrestling in the UK, which is a yearly event we have over here in Manchester, which is pretty awesome. Monopoly Events run that, but I know there's some great stars heading over to the UK for that. That's on February 15th and 16th this year, Joe. But it's like a wrestling convention where we have wrestling shows as part of it as well. So normally Progress do a show there, and also Future Shock Wrestling presents a show there as well. And you tend to find some of the talent who are on the WrestleCon tends to get involved in a few of the matches and stuff. So but we've had some brilliant interactions at that. And last year Progress had an amazing surprise for the fans who were in attendance. We had Hammerstone on the show, which was great to welcome Hammerstone over to the UK. So so keep your eyes firmly peeled on that one. I'm sure tickets are available now for the Love of Wrestling, and I know we've got I believe the Mountie is going to be over this year, and alongside all sorts of other classic wrestling guests. And, the conventions is one of my absolute favorite things to go to, Joe. I don't know if you've had a chance to attend many yourself, but we were at WrestleCon in Philly and stuff. So it's amazing. Like,
I went to one. I've been to one convention. It's so sad. I went to like 3 years in a row. I went to Comic-Con, the New York City Comic-Con. But I went to one convention. My sister bought it for me for Christmas. There's a promotion in New Jersey. They're not hardcore. They're regular promotions called ISPW. And they did an 80s con. And I bumped some elbows from one half. This is like going back to the 80s. One half of the Killer Bees was there. Typhoon was there. I don't know if you watched the Dark Side of the Ring. The daughter and son of the Earthquake were there, which that was cool as hell. I took a picture. It's on the Instagram page. I took a picture with it was just supposed to be Earthquake's daughter, and they were all talking. They were just standing there, and I just said, "Can I take a picture?" I thought he was trying to back up to get out of the picture, and his daughter's like, "No, but get forward."
And in as well, yeah.
He said, "No, stay forward." So I'm in the picture with them, and it looked like I had my jacket on. It looked like Jimmy Hart. I was just like, I was like, "Oh my
God!" Have to get your megaphone as well.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh my God, I'm in a picture with a Hall of Famer and the kids of the Hall of Famer. And then I watched The Dark Side of the Ring, and I didn't know her name. And I found her on Instagram, and I sent her my message, and I was going, I didn't get anything back yet, but I'm like, I got to find her on Facebook now to see if maybe I could get the message to her on Facebook so she gets it. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another
John
name
Center, what an absolute legend he was, and it's great to see Fred. We tend to see Fred at he came over and did a Hooked on Wrestling events over here, and he's been at a few conventions, but it's absolutely great to see him. He's always on top form, Fred. One of my favorite wrestlers I ever met was I always mention this to people is Rowdy Roddy Piper. Was like meeting like an uncle you didn't know you had. It was one of the most special moments of my life. Actually, it was in Miami, and it was just absolutely amazing to meet him. And he wanted to chat to everyone who was there and find out how they knew about him and stuff. And it was just absolutely heartwarming. But it was brilliant that this year when I was in Philly, I got to speak to his daughter and her partner,
Teal.
Teal, and actually tell her that story. So that was nice to pass that on and say, because I do think people appreciate that, when the fact that it's one of the main things that sort of encouraged me to get into the business. And actually when you think about people helping each other out, and somebody like that can speak to you. This was in 2012. I met Piper, and he was just so friendly and nice. And I just think when you see people like that, it encourages you, even if there's bad stuff you hear about the business or whatever. There's things like that are just shining beacons of hope in wrestling that encourage people to say, this is. I love this business, and something like that to show that somebody who got so high up in the business can still be nice to people and be sound to people, a genuine person just shows, there are good people about. And that brings me on to another thing as well. Scotty Too Hottie. It was great to see that Keegan yesterday debuted over in the States. That's just absolutely amazing because Keegan was at TNT with Scott. It must have been 2 years ago now. And they're such amazing people. And I know he's been working so hard. But it's great to see that he's debuted yesterday, and I'm sure at some point Keegan will be wrestling over in the UK. I'm absolutely sure of that. So big shout out to Scott and Keegs there. Congratulations on the debut, and keeping very close eye on that guy's career for sure.
I know another person we both forgot to mention their name because I've had her on the podcast in the past, and she's a doll. Her character, when she has a doll too, and he's a bear. Alfie.
Oh, no.
You got Didi and Alfie. You can't talk about hardcore without Didi. And well, I knew Alfie before I knew Didi. I knew Alfie, and now I know. I'm like, why is it that I knew her before the famous Didi was born and invented? Like, I talk to American fans about Didi because she sent me a T-shirt back in the day, and I wear it, and I'm like, I'm mad. She hasn't spoken to me in this podcast has existed for 3 years. And we had her on, I think, in year 2, maybe year 1. And I'm like, I missed the ball. Like, now there's Didi. Didi could have been in the background behind her on a pillar and, like, could have got us more views. It could have had people could have been hashtag Didi. Like, yeah.
Joe, I'll tell you something. I actually knew Didi first because I was at a show at Alternative Wrestling World in Halesowen in the UK. And I was saying, guys, has anyone seen my bow tie? Has anyone seen my bow tie, please? This is in the locker room. And I just saw a blue bit of fur scamper out of the locker room. And I was like, what was that? And someone was like, I think it's that mischievous bear who Alfie has with them. And I was like, don't be silly. Went out to the ring. Luckily, I had a spare bow tie with me. But when I got to the ring, Alfie came to the ring and Didi had my bow tie on that had gone missing. And if you look at any recent promotional material of Didi, it is wearing my bow tie still. It's actually still got it.
It's so cool to see Alfie doing so good. Like, I miss working with her. Like, we worked one time, and it makes you like, I feel so, even though I'm in America, I never get a chance to really like sit and talk to any of you guys because I'm just strictly here in America, but there is a possibility in the future that I could try to come to the States, like come to the UK. And I know my mom's like, you really think that you would be that popular? I don't know, but like, I know a lot of people that have said to me, like, they know about the dudes at Ringside, and Alfie and Shorty and Kiara, when they were big time in Coventry Pro, our names were popped around their locker room like bags of chips during the movie. Like, and I'm like,
I always enjoy working with Alfie, to be fair, but DD is just a different story. We were at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling in Stratford-upon-Avon a few weeks ago, and I was announcing for Alfie. And after I finished announcing, I noticed my shoelaces were tied together as well, and Didi had tied my shoelaces together as I was announcing. So just genuine mischief from that bear. It's definitely got it out for me, I'm telling you.
Awesome. So yeah, like when it comes to like your jackets, you have like so many different colored jackets. Like, how many colored jackets do you have exactly?
I have about I probably have about 30 to 40 now that I have from doing so many different shows over the years, and I'd like to keep it fresh and have some different styles and stuff. I don't want to look the same every show, and so I've got a few go-to ones. I've got like one my granddad gave me. My granddad used to go around the world on cruises with my grandmother. They used to go to like the Caribbean and stuff, and unfortunately they can't travel anymore. And my granddad had this particular jacket that he used to wear to meet the captain when he was on the cruise ships. And he said to me, "This is no use to me anymore. I'm not going to be able to go on any more cruises. You should wear it when you're doing your announcements." So I wear that one every now and again, and that's quite special to me. And then I've got I've got like a leopard print one that's quite shiny that people seem to enjoy. That's the one that's on that picture actually in the background on the dudes at Ringside one, that the leopard print one. I've got loads. I've got Christmas ones. I've got like a Beatles one. So if when we're in Liverpool, I wear the Beatles one every now and again, but I haven't quite got the Beatles hair anymore.
There
you go. Well, I never.
Yep. It's like let's not only make this interview about me, because we both have special talents. Like, you have any questions for me? Being the third year of this illustrious
you've met some amazing people over there in the States, of course. Who has been your favorite guest that you've had in the interview that you'd like to let the guys in the UK know more about, obviously from the States? Because I'm trying to think who I've met. We have met so many people who wrestle in the States. I'm thinking people like Black Dahlia, Holly Hood, Haley J, Sabotage.
That guy is such a sweetheart. She is such a sweet person. She has such a story.
I'm sort of guys from Texas, Palais Pro. We used to chat to them a lot on the podcast we were doing as well. But like, who's been your couple of favorites that you'd like to let the UK fans know about, Joe? Who do we need to know about and get over to the UK?
Tiffany, not Tiffy time, but Tiffany. She's trained under Alpha Jr. and she helps a lot with the female wrestlers. She's on Instagram. You could definitely check her out. Another female wrestler that she's very young in the game. She's trained in dance and she's also a wrestler. Her name is Kate Thorne, and she's a very young talent, and she's so brilliant. Like, she's such a good wrestler and such a good person too. Sweet, sweet, sweet girl. Of course, Alpha Jr., part of the bloodline, like the owner of his father started WXW with Sika, and they left like Allentown, PA. That's where all the, and they went to Florida, and they continued with WXW up to when Alpha passed. So they still do it, but Battlefield Pro Wrestling, which is connected to WXW, they'll bring in all their history of talent. And like, he has affected so many wrestlers from the Pennsylvania area, like Kate Thorne, Tiffany. Oh my gosh, just so many guys. Logie P. Oh my gosh, there's JJ Smith, which is the most intellectual wrestler in the independent wrestling scene, as I'm pointing at my head, because this is what he does. His trademark this. He is he's a nerd. He's a nerd character that I'm like, oh, this is not gonna fly. No one's gonna want this guy. But the way he comes out, his character, the nerd, always reading a book, it's just so brilliant. And this South Philly's Finest, which is like this Italian group that come out with from the song, ever hear the song Rag to Riches?
I'll check it out.
It's an old song. Yeah, South Philly's Finest is a brilliant tag team. We have people that I've also worked from PPW in Slaterton, Pennsylvania, from Danny Moe to Visage. Visage and Danny would freaking go ballistic in the UK. They would have so many fans because they're neon colors. He comes out as a neon ninja with a halo on his head, and he's just like this. He flies around like a white Rey Mysterio. Like, that man could do
amazing skills.
There's so many wrestlers. It's hard to say. There's in H2O we have Matt or Mouse or Rat. He's a hardcore wrestler. Comes out with a little top hat on. He's going like that. Oh my gosh, it's like talents. There's so much talent in the States that it's like some wrestlers never get their due. Like, they never get. Some of them will even have Instagram. Like this lady right here, Autumn Breeze. I bought her a little plushie at one of the conventions I went to. She's from like Scranton, PA area. She does small shows. No one really gives her the credit. So she's another
famous for its paper merchants, isn't it?
Yep, I love the little merch you can get at shows, like the old school WWF like pop things like this, and
that's cool.
Slits like this that you get at shows that you could get people to buy, or they give them to me, and stickers. And I know some female wrestlers and male wrestlers from the UK that I worked with this year that I loved working with, and I'm actually going to work with next year again. Like Maddie. I can't remember her last name. It's gonna be horrible. Yeah, I can't remember her last name, but also the brand, the group from LWF, the tag team champions.
Yes. Yeah.
Breaking news fans, they will be my first live episode of 2025 on January 5th. the brand will be back on Dudes at Ringside podcast as my first.
I have ring announced for them guys quite a few times. I was the ring announcer at the LWF for about 3 years, and it was just as the brand was starting to make their appearances there, and then I've ring announced for them at the Kingdom of Wrestling in Southport. But yeah, particularly Ryan does causes a lot of trouble at shows for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot
in the ring, not necessarily backstage.
Yeah. I'm saying Maddie Morgan. Madison Morgan.
Maddie.
Yes. Maddie.
Oh yeah, Maddie Morgan. Yes, when I was
a talented superstar. I hope she's watching this and listening.
She has worked so hard in training and getting out there this last year, especially. But she was when I first was announcing at LWF. She was even then when she was very young. Was working on the cameras, working on the merch stand, and Louise knows Maddie very well. Yeah, so yeah, excellent stuff. But there's so many hardworking people around in the UK, and it's great to see people like them, like Aluna. I saw her out in Philly last year. There's just an absolute wealth of
Tricks talent. Is another one that's talented that came on the podcast a few years ago. Luna Tricks. Oh my gosh, the Virus. Oh my gosh, just so much like Shorty that no one really talks about anymore because she went off to doing tattooing now. But
yeah, she's a singer as well, isn't she? So I don't think I've actually worked with Shorty, but I know of her. And who else have you had on from the UK recently? Didn't you have was it Kiara? So isn't she? You say about one of the smartest wrestlers, isn't she? Very highly educated as well.
Oh gosh, if it wasn't for, here we go. This is going to be like at the violin in the background. If it wasn't for Shorty Kiara, I wouldn't have that awesome title in my name as I did my intro. If it wasn't for Kiara, I would never be internationally known. She messaged us one day back in the day and said, I got canceled by a podcast. Can I join you guys? And I was like, asked him for my co-host, what do you think? He's like, yeah, what time? 8:00, sure. She would get before that, like we did the little pre-game thing we just did before. And she said, you realize what time it is by me, guys? And we're like, and we looked at the thing. I was like, no, it's 7 something. She said, you realize it's blah, blah, blah o'clock in the morning here in the UK. And we're like, what? UK? What do you mean UK? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And I was like, and now and now when I get my interviews, I always ask them, where are you located? So I don't look like a fool and put them up.
I was just thinking, because it's pitch black outside here. We've had some sort of crazy storm this weekend that's hit us. So the trains and transport links have been all over the show and stuff. So it's just good to see that everyone's still got through the weekend. To be fair, where Stu from Stu's Wrestling Podcast lives on the Wales coast, and they've got a pier there, Llandudno Pier, and the ice cream stalls blew into the sea there, from what I've seen. So there's all sorts of chaos this weekend. The big football match was the Liverpool versus Everton derby was called off. So it's not often things like that get cancelled, because if you think about it, there's people flying from all over the world to come and watch that one. So they don't want to be cancelling things like that, really. So that'll have to be rescheduled. But but it's such a shame. But obviously, it's more important people's safety, isn't it, with things like that? I know a few wrestling shows had to be cancelled this weekend. I was lucky to have today off for a change, so good to have a chance to catch up with you. But I've still got we've got a couple more shows left this year, Joe. Still, we've got I think I've got PW on the 22nd in Stratford upon Avon, which is a Christmas show. So I'll be fully elfed up for that show, I believe. And then obviously that unboxing show we mentioned on the 29th, which is at the Electric Ballroom in London, in Camden Town, which is if you ever get to come over for Progress, Joe, Camden Town is such a quirky place to visit. But there's actually a really good documentary on Disney Plus at the moment about Camden.
Really?
Music scene. Yeah, it's worth checking out, especially for any American fans who don't know what the area is like. It's definitely worth giving it a watch. And it's got the Electric Ballroom, where which is like the spiritual home of Progress. It focuses on that quite a lot in that documentary. So, for any American fans who are watching, definitely worth checking that out and giving it a watch. And you can see, some of the quirky area and what some of the a lot of the music that you see, around the UK has come from that area, which is quite interesting. It's got a really good musical history. So, and obviously I'm from Liverpool, which is the home of the Beatles. So if you're ever over for TNT, there's all sorts of Beatles stuff you can do. You can go to the Cavern. There's bands playing on every street you go around. There's people, busking in the street playing music. So, you should do a wrestling trip. We should get Wrestle Tours to set up something like Wrestle Trip UK, where we do Liverpool and London, because you tend to find TNT tends to run a Saturday, and then Progress is on the Sunday, so you could do both in one weekend. So that'd be an amazing trip over to the UK for a wrestling fan. And you could do, the Beatles tour, and you could do the whole of Camden as well. You could make a full weekend of it. I'll have to think about getting the Wrestle Bus back into action for Paul Benson and Hooked on Wrestling, and drive everyone down in the evening.
Yeah, it's always good to have like a travel plan when you do shows like what you do. Does it like ever like you have a calendar of where you're going or what you're doing, and do you like ever have to like set aside to like go, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this today, but somebody else wanted me to book in the States? A lot of wrestlers do this. Do you ever get double booked and get nervous about not getting to the other event on time?
Yeah, and not just that, it's even worse for me. But with wrestlers, you can get from one show to another one in a day and do both and switch your place on the card. But with a ring announcer, it's really difficult because you're doing the whole show. You're out there for the whole show. There's no like, I can get an early dart and make this other show and go on last there. So I tend not to get double booked on days unless one's like a really early show, and then one's an evening show. There's not much chance of a ring announcer getting from one to the other. So I hate it when promotions run on the same day for me, like especially if I'm, committed to doing one and then I have to, someone else books me. But we had on the 30th of November when we did TNT, there was about 5 other promotions who all had asked me to work that day, but TNT had 2 shows in the one day, so we were there for the whole day. But so I couldn't get to do any of the other ones, which is a shame because I'd rather people ran different days, so I could get to all of them and do spread the word of wrestling to everyone.
Yeah, that's a fun thing about when it comes to wrestling, like, and it's not only you're doing independent wrestling, like, is when you talk to people that are non-wrestling fans about what you do for like as like a, I don't know, side hustle or whatever you do. I don't know if it's your full-time job or side thing, because I do this podcast for free. I promote it. I'm not getting paid for this. I have wrestlers that ask me if how much do you charge? Or I charge 50 quid, or I charge $25 an hour. I just do this for love of professional wrestling. I don't even pay for my interviews. I just do this for love. Like, how do you explain to people that don't watch wrestling about what you do? Like, is there like you have to explain to people like you're trying to explain to a kid how do you cut an apple? Like for non-wrestling fans in your case?
Yeah, I'm always happy to dive on and chat to anyone about it because it's great to speak about wrestling, let you know about upcoming stars. And one huge thing about it is I can speak about upcoming events that we've got as well. So things like Progress have just put Super Strong Style 16 tickets on sale. If you're in the UK or the States, it's on the 4th and 5th of May. So it's a bank holiday. So it's good to plan your travel now. This is the time to get your cheap hotels, where it's, Christmas sales and, Boxing Day sales in the UK. You can get cheaper hotels. You can get cheaper flights at those times. So if you're thinking of coming over for something like that, for example, this is the time to do it. And we've had, big stars at the Super Strong Style show the last couple of years. Shelton Benjamin's been there. Will Ospreay. Obviously, we've had people like Aramis was over, who's now obviously hologram in AEW doing so brilliantly there. We get some really big names over for that event. So that's just been put on sale this week, so that's worth getting your tickets booked for. And TNT's already announced their first shows for January 25th as well. So there's already been some matches announced as well. Championship match, MVK for the TNT Ignition Championship. MVK, the most valuable killer, is going to be defending his TNT Ignition Championship against the one-man Armory Bullet, who is an absolute brilliant super heavyweight wrestler. If you've not heard of him before, Joe, he's definitely someone to check out. He's wrestled all over the UK with All-Star Wrestling, and he also was Spike Trevay's sort of bodyguard in Progress, so he helped Spike keep hold of his Progress World Men's Championship for an even longer reign than what he possibly could have done on his own, I would say. But I've been so lucky, Joe, to work with some great talent. We spoke about a couple of the guys from America briefly, but some people in the UK are really well established, but might not have necessarily been over in the US as much. People like Spike Trevay, we just mentioned. Kid Lycos. Of course, there's just so many. But one to watch out for, I would recommend, is Charles Crowley. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Crowley at all. But he's somebody to have a little look up for. Yeah, he wrestled briefly with Alexis Falcon in the States this year on our Progress show there when we did the GCW Collective. So yeah, definitely someone worth checking out if you're not familiar with him. But yeah, and we're so lucky to have just such great wrestlers at the moment. Been so lucky. Good. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Bit of a glitch. Transatlantic glitch.
Yeah. There's another young wrestler that I didn't mention. Skylar. She trains under PPW. I don't know if you saw that in the UK. She went from being a fan, now she's doing what she loves. I always comment, so proud of you, keep up the great work. It's so cool to see a young wrestler like her to go from being just a fan to making videos, telling people not to be mean, and now she's in it. Now she's in the middle of it. She wrestled with Alfie. Yeah. It's amazing to see. And I'm from America, and I'm watching what she's doing, and it's so beautiful. Even though I started going on some other guy's podcast from the UK, and I'm like, hi, I don't know if you're afraid to come over and interview an American yet, but I'll do it, Skylar. I'll be your first American podcast to have you come over here and talk to me about this. But so I feel like I get nervous, but I was like, okay.
Well, I'll let them know. I get a chance to see these people on all the time, so I'll let them know for you.
Yeah, like let everybody know. I love interviewing people from all over the world. That's why the podcast is internationally known, and I just find it cool. Even though I don't know. Next year will be the 4 years of this podcast. And it's just so cool to work with awesome people like you that are in the game. They're in the middle of this. And I'm trying to just work my way and now doing this on my own. And I find it easier and harder to promote yourself when you don't want to overdo yourself. You know what I mean? Over promote, but promote enough that people will tune in and people come in. And like we got on YouTube right now, we have 2 people watching. And that, to me, 2 and 2, Facebook and YouTube. But for me, that's good. I don't have to have 1,500 in the chat. I could have your friend in there, and I'm happy with that. But
the thing is, though, Joe, people, in the UK, there's football on at the moment. It might be everyone watches the football and then tunes in and watches later on. That's the cool thing about YouTube. People can tune in later on. And as well, there's people we've spoke about who we can easily reach out to them. You can say we spoke about Kiara, we spoke about Scarlett. You want to check it out and see what was mentioned about you. Sky, an absolutely brilliant person. We've looked after them at shows around the UK. They've been to Progress, they've been to TNT, and doing brilliant at PPW. And that's a great training school. I've seen some of the best go through that area. Liam Slater obviously is there. Will Cruz, Gene Money, some of the absolute best have trained and taught there. Spike Trevor, I believe, is holding or has just held a training class there. It's great that there's PPW, there's Claw Wrestling up in Liverpool. ICW are training people. A shout out to the Sheik at Top Rope Academy where he's training people up there. But yeah, definitely check out Claw. Dean Allmark is the trainer there, and he's just an absolute master of professional wrestling. Someone, if you're not familiar with Dean Allmark, you need to check him out. And he's somebody that, people from the States who want to learn to be a wrestler, it's worth coming over to the UK and training under Dean Allmark because it'll give you a whole new outlook on professional wrestling. And he's also got people like Gradwell there, Sonna Derson, some of the best coaches. Lizzie Evo's coached there with him, Rio's coached there. A real great place to learn. The Wrestle Island's got its own temple where they're training people up as well. So there's going to be a whole new group of British wrestlers ready to come over and take over the States at some point. So just keep your eyes peeled for them.
Yeah.
And similarly, you've got guys to send over to us. So, it's a whole different crowd. There's all sorts of different stuff to learn. So the more experience you can get working in different places for these young wrestlers, that's where they learn, and they really, working for a different audience, getting their character out there, and really cutting their teeth in the businesses. That's the opportunities they've got. So, that'd be great if we could do some talent trades at some time. But I'm sure that there's opportunities for people for sure.
Yeah, totally, man. After a show, like I know some people like to go out to lunch or dinner after a wrestling show. Do you pack a dinner or do you eat with the boys after the show in a location or wherever?
Yeah, it depends. Depends what time the show's running. Like if we do TNT, sometimes we do both shows in a day, and you don't get much chance to have anything to eat. So I'll sometimes just pack basically like a kid's school packed lunch for myself. Yeah. But there's other times when we do Progress and we're organized enough to be able to get out. A lot of people just like to go and have a drink and socialize afterwards. But if we can get a bite to eat, I'm always happy to go and eat with the boys and with the gang, anyone who's out and about. So it just depends where we are and what sort of time in the show is, really. But we've had some interesting meals out, to say the least. We went through a stage where after Progress, we would go out, and it always ended up being my birthday, wherever we were in the world, or whatever time of the year it was. I remember one occasion Nick Wayne was out with us, and just couldn't believe that it was Mad Dog's birthday, and there was a birthday cake and singing and candles, and we're all celebrating. And then after the waiters and waitresses had gone, I was like, "It's not my birthday, guys." So
yeah, they'll start getting mad if it's a TGI Friday. They'll be like, "We know it's not your birthday, but now we have to say it because the manager's doing this. Get the freaking cake out of the freezer and put the candles in it." Stupid. Oh man,
that's it. That was just consistent for a long time period. It was my birthday wherever we went. I was just like that, and they tried to make it more and more embarrassing. There was one time I was out with Ross. Ross is based out in Saudi Arabia at the moment, was working with WWE recently, but he works on Wrestle Tours with us as well. But he did a birthday shout out for me in Liverpool, and we were sitting outside, and these guys came out with light up tambourines, and it was the full. And this was nowhere near my birthday at all, and this was like a full on street party started, and they were like, "Stand up, stand on the table, dance," and all this. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh no!
So yeah, we've had a few birthday parties.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so crazy because like as I said before, independent wrestling. I love to tell people they're like, "Joe, do you ever think about changing your method and trying to get bigger wrestlers?" And I'm like, no. They're like, why? I'm like, I feel the independent wrestlers are the best to have on, because then I could be watching NXT or whatever and go, I interviewed her, I interviewed him. And there's others, like next year, another team, breaking news, I'm interviewing The Sound, another wrestling stable from the UK wrestling scene. They will be the second live of 2025, the weekend after that, the 12th. So the Sound will be on Dudes at Ringside, January 12th.
Who's in that faction, Joe?
It's I can't think of it. It's two guys and a girl.
I'll have to make sure to check them out. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them, but that's the great thing about podcasts as well. It gives everyone an opportunity to tell their story, what they're doing, and it's great to hear how people are getting on, and to see new people from that aspect as well. And some of the people who I've seen on podcasts like Sabotage, I met on a podcast back in sort of 2019, but at WrestleMania 40, I was helping my Wrestle Tours guests get to their suite, and there he was in person, and I was at the top of the escalator. He came up the escalator, and I was like, "Well, if it isn't Sabotage," and he was just like, "Mad Dog." It's such shock to actually see me in person in the States. So that was awesome. But no, we're excited for Wrestle Tours. Obviously, that's Las Vegas is going to be something very special, and we're staying at the Park MGM. Joe, you said yourself about coming. We do still have a few spaces available on our trip, because we have suites at WrestleMania, so we do have some barstool seats available. So if you are interested, we can speak off the air. But if any of your fans are interested, we can sort it out so people can pay in dollars to join us. Not a problem at all. So just reach out, have a look on Instagram at Wrestle Tours, and also on Facebook. Reach out to myself. We can help make get into WrestleMania reality for people, and our prices are obviously very competitive, and we bring over such a great bunch of people. The guys from the Hasbro World Order, and a lot of the Progress wrestlers joined us last year, and we have some very special guests joining us. When we were at WrestleMania 39, Rob Van Dam came and watched WrestleMania with us. Last year, Zaya Brookside popped in to visit us, and Danielle Monet and a couple of other stars. We were lucky enough to have Ricky Starks and QT Marshall pop by and see us. And our fans were very lucky that they got to meet CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Omos, people like that who just had the night off for Mania Night 1, with it being a 2-night thing. On night 1, all the guys who were wrestling on night 2 were in the suites right next to us, so we got to meet them and chat to them. So yeah, we make sure everyone has a good time who travel with us and enjoy themselves. So yeah, we've had 2 amazing trips in the last 2 years, and WrestleMania 41 is going to be exactly the same. And very limited on spaces now, though. It's getting down to the last few spaces. So if anyone wants to join us, just reach out, contact the Mad Dog, contact Wrestle Tours, and we'll make sure we look after you.
I'll talk to my sister and see what she thinks, because I'll be with my sassy sister, my former co-host of Twins at Ringside. You'll be able to meet the twin, the other half. But I'm teaching her.
It's a no-brainer. Get involved.
Yeah. Me and my sister, I was teaching her. I was like pretty much like the teacher in this school, and this is independent wrestling. And she's like, she went to her first show with me, and it was like in Brooklyn, and she was going, "Is he hurt? Oh, damn it. It's my day off. Fuck." like, no, Angela, there's a medical crew, there's a doctor waiting backstage by a table going, like the NFL with the tent. Like, there's guy waiting backstage. If someone really is hurt, they'll go, "Come with me in the room. We'll check your vitals." And she's like, "You sure?" I'm like, yeah, they're fine. And she's like, "Don't bring the curtain back. You know too much." I'm like, "Yeah, I think I do sometimes. These wrestlers tell me way too much." Like, they tell me way too much. I'm like, no.
Shout out to our medical team at Progress and TNT. Obviously, it's a tough job for them, and especially TNT, because it's, we have quite a lot of deathmatch wrestling on there. We had B.A. Rose versus Atrocity Cruel on Cold Day in Hell last week, and also Emerson Jane versus Drew Parker, which obviously the medics were involved in that, but all them shows are available to watch on Triller TV. So if anyone's interested in checking it out, make sure to give it a watch. And Progress has also been streaming live recently on Triller. And we also have Demand Progress Plus. So if anyone wants to check out the matches we've done in the last couple of years, there's so much there to watch over. And Demand Progress Plus as well has all the sort of past career highlights of Toni Storm as she came through Progress. And obviously Walter, who is now Gunter, he was a Progress as the Progress champion. He was also TNT Extreme Wrestling champion in Liverpool. So there's all sorts of history on there for you to watch as well. If you're to see some, as you mentioned, when you get to interview people and then suddenly they're on TV as superstars on WWE or AEW, TNA. It's nice to say, we worked with them, back in the day, this match. So yeah, a lot of them are available to watch online now. So check it out on Triller and also on Demand Progress Plus. But progress-wise, we've actually got January off this year because GCW are over doing a show in the Electric Ballroom on the 26th of January. So that's another one to check out. If you, I'm assuming you know the guys from GCW.
Yeah, I know a few people, GCW people. I know more. I know I get tagged more sometimes by TNT, not much, but I really hope maybe you could tell them, tag Joe more, because H2O tags me in almost every post. Don't collabs. I said collab with me. They don't collab. They just tag
you and everything. Yeah.
I'm like,
that's
collab. I like
when call them.
Like, they're like, "You mean tag you more?" No, collab. Push the collab button. Tell H2O to collab. Like, TNT to collab. Push the collab button. I don't mind promoting their poster, And as I said, I have had wrestlers send me t-shirts. Like, Alfie sent me a shirt back in the day and all these other promotions. And I'm like, I wear the stuff. I'll wear the t-shirt. Like, I jokingly call myself the wrestling billboard. like, who's that?
We met I was going to say we met the guys from Kayfabe Clothing when we were in Philly. Do you know those guys at all?
That's the heel face merch, right?
I don't say the guy's name was, and he did. So he had he had a few different T-shirts, but one was what was it? Wrestling is real, people are fake. It was one of the T-shirts.
I need that one. I need that one. I need that shirt.
That's epic. But yeah, they were a great little team, and they had some brilliant people from over in the States working with them at WrestleCon. We had a Progress stand there at WrestleCon this year, and we were quite lucky with the people who we were working opposite. We had the Hardy Boys were in one corner, and then Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Tito Santana, and Abdullah the Butcher were directly opposite us. So every 5 minutes, you'd hear Hacksaw, "Oh!"
Yeah. or someone doing the Hardy's dance in the other corner.
Oh yeah, they were dancing by, and Tito was arriba. And then every now and again you'd hear someone screaming because Abdullah the Butcher had got them with his fork.
Oh Jesus!
Oh yeah, we had Mustafa Ali was next to us. Big shout out to him. He's doing brilliant, and he wrestled on Progress with us last year as well. So yeah, great guy, and did brilliantly. Signed a heck of a lot of autographs in the UK.
And that's like when you have to sign all these autographs, because I know you're the ring announcer. Do you have to take part in the announcement? Because I know they in PPW they do like an auction, and now at the end of the show they'll auction the poster off, like a poster, a big like a movie poster with the autographs. Yeah. You ever take part in that and sign the poster?
Yeah. At TNT we used to do a lot of shows. We give away a steel chair as the raffle prize. So we do a raffle, so everyone would sign the chair. And yeah, if we ever do meet and greets or anything like that, I'm normally host the meet and greets and stuff. Quite a few people ask me to sign the posters at the end, so I'm always happy to sign up, obviously. And nice to make someone's day. And anyone who wants a Mad Dog selfie, always happy for a selfie. I'm happy. One thing is, I always have selfies with people. So I can say, this is where we met, this is where we caught up, and post it as memories and stuff. But since I've been doing that I've been doing it for 10 years, but I've seen so many more wrestlers now do it, like taking photos. And I just think that's great that in some way, if that's my positive impact on the business, that people now have photos with their friends and people they work with, and now get the selfies without being embarrassed or being ashamed of it. I think that's pretty cool. I know a lot of it was guarded in the past, but it's like I think if people can have a photo with their idols and not be embarrassed by it, then that's absolutely cool, and I'm happy to see people getting photos. But yeah. But if you haven't had a Mad Dog selfie, you've got to get a Mad Dog selfie in person.
Yeah, definitely. Either if I go to Vegas, we're definitely like going to somehow meet and be like, dude, selfie time.
Well, you come with Wrestle Tours now, Joe, so it's as simple as that. Just contact me this week. You won't get a better ticket than joining us guys in our suites, and we'll have...
my sister would be laughing her ass off the whole time. She'd be like, my brother's just a podcaster. I literally, work by day, I work in a nursing home in the kitchen helping out and stuff like that. And by night, I'm a podcaster. So it's like,
Joe, that's class.
Food by day and making people laugh and smile. And by night, I do the same thing, make people laugh and smile and listen. You know what I mean? Like,
Joe, for 15 years, I was, after university, I worked and ran restaurants and worked my way up to being, full-time restaurants. And then at the weekends, I worked my way back down from being a manager so I could make more time free for wrestling and do, my ring announcing duties. And then, more and more stuff came up for me to do in wrestling and stuff. And it was a long time. For a long time, it was a fine balance where I was working 7 days a week. And I still do. From that, I've got used to having that mentality that I'm going to work every day. So like, for me having a day off today, like I've had the day off. I've done all my Christmas shopping, and then I made sure that I still spoke to you and did, because that's you still got to be involved. I'm not having a day off. I'm not having a day off. Simple as.
Like I got you now, and then later on tonight, I'm pre-recording with a female manager named Angel. She's really sweet. She sent me a promo, like you did your promo. She sent it a few weeks ago, and with TikTok, I got her it's Angel. Let me go to Instagram. TikTok. Her name is. I have a bunch of browsers open on my Instagram. No, Instagram's gonna kill me. Her name is Angel. It's ADUVALL. That is her name. I like the glasses.
I just noticed these on the side of them.
Whose glasses are those? Wrestlers or just like something you found?
The Wrestle Tours sunglasses. The guys
from.
Oh
gosh! If you have any extra glasses,
podcast sent me them, I believe. So
if you send me any, if you have any extras, I'll wear those. I'll walk around with them.
You'll get a load of stuff in the post now off me.
Oh jeez, dude.
I must have a spare t-shirt somewhere. What size t-shirt are you?
I wear a large.
We'll send you something over, no problem. But
before we go, because it's the holiday season, if you had to give a special, either to a tag team or a solo wrestler, male or female, what special holiday gift would you give to a wrestler?
Oh, that's a really good question. Let's have a think. I think I would. I'd have to gift Charles Crowley some sort of new part of his outfit because he always has these awesome outfits. I'd definitely gift him something. I think as well at the moment, Gene Money, Will Cruz and Session Moth have become a family in progress. So I'd probably get their family portrait printed out in full size for them for in the ring. And then knowing wrestling, somebody would probably hit them over the head with it.
Yep. I'm old school WWF. Whoosh. Like the picture.
I reckon that's the one. That'd be a great present. I'll have that ready for unboxing for them. I'll get that blown up, put in a big frame, and we'll just see what happens.
For me, I'd get Alfie a framed picture of me and her. Like, if it never happens.
And I know what Alfie has asked for actually that I need to sort out. I always wear like sparkly, shiny, glittery shoes as well when I'm ring announcing. I have like a gold pair, a silver pair, a black pair as well, and like a spiky pair. But Alfie was saying that Dee Dee wants a pair of shiny shoes. So I have to find a pair of shoes for Dee Dee.
Like those baby shoes. You have to find baby. You go to the Babies R Us if they still have that in the UK. Be like, do you guys got shoes like they bring the coat? Like just like this, but like bring my shoe like this, same shoe, but like baby version.
Joe, we have Build a Bear in the UK. I don't know if you know Build a Bear, but they have full on sets of clothes for bears, so I might have to go in there.
Oh gosh! When you see Alfie, tell him Joe Panther III says he's high. He almost said like I'm high. I'm high on life. I miss her. I miss working with her. All the best to her. Before we go, if there was any fans, young fans that were watching this podcast or listening to it on Spotify, why are you listening? Why are you on Spotify? You're too young. Hopefully you got a good 2024 review. I didn't. I really wish next year my reviews on Instagram. But long story short, if they wanted to get into the business like you did, what kind of advice would you have for them?
Yeah, well, I got into the business randomly because a good friend, I'd been hosting pub quizzes and stuff, and they knew I was a wrestling fan. And TNT needed a ring announcer for their second show because for the first show, the guy who'd hired the ring was doing the ring and the ring announcing, couldn't really do both at the same time. So I was just very lucky that came about, and it's something I'd obviously been going to wrestling shows for sort of 15 years at that time. And was very familiar with what was happening, and knew people, from different walks of life, and new wrestlers, and knew behind the scenes a bit myself already. So that was very good. But what I would say is get yourself to as many shows as possible. Get involved. At the moment, there's so many sort of people trying to help in wrestling, like charities, the Hot Tag Foundation, and people like Real Wrestling, who are doing things like raffles and helping sell merchandise at shows and things like that. And these guys have got a great network of people who go to wrestling, and they're not involved necessarily in the wrestling aspect of the thing, but they're trying to help out and be there to help, because sometimes the wrestling needs extra people, extra bodies about to help with different things. So I would say if you want to be involved in wrestling, get to as many shows as you can, network, get to meet people, meet the right people. Progress are currently doing a Progress Careers thing on LinkedIn, where there's a guy called Pete who works with us from the Bechdel Collective, and obviously Lee McAteer is very hot on that. And there's opportunities there. At the last couple of Progress shows, I've had people doing work experience working alongside me, who I've helped just show them what's going on show day, let them watch the show with me, and help guide them through. So you couldn't get better training than like be on the job training like that, really. So if you're a university student who's interested, reach out to the Progress team on LinkedIn, Progress Careers, all that sort of things. Great opportunity. And if you want to be a wrestler, get yourself along to places like Claw Training Academy, get along and learn from the best, and learn the right way. There's great upcoming wrestlers to watch out for. Donna Decker, Critchy, Tom McCall, NAJ. The list is endless from just the Liverpool area. We've got everywhere around the country. There's new up-and-coming talent. Brandon Lee, he was called Adonis Payne, but Chris Aries, I believe his name is. There's just so many great wrestlers. So, get involved. And, New Wave Wrestling Academy as well in Wales is training people the right way. And we have, so many great wrestlers appearing all the time. It's hard to keep an eye on them all, but But, hopefully everyone will get an opportunity at some point to showcase what they can do. And, it's only a matter of time before your opportunity comes around. If you're already working hard, there's, we have ring crew on shows. Get involved, help on ring crew if you're an up-and-coming wrestler. There's nothing embarrassing about being part of the ring crew. That's how you get your opportunities. So, and Tommy Tanner as well, another up-and-coming talent to check out. So, loads of great wrestlers coming. And if you want to be involved, there are opportunities. So reach out to people and see if they can help you. They're going to help you. That's the thing. Everyone wants what's best for the wrestling business and for it to succeed and get better. And that means getting tickets to the shows, getting your friends along to the shows, and just sharing your passion for pro wrestling. So, Joe, I'd like to thank you so much for having me on today. My only other things to mention is obviously the upcoming shows. So Unboxing is on the 29th of December, obviously. We've then got TNT, has 2 events, a family-friendly show and an extreme over 18 show in the evening. That's January 25th in Liverpool, UK. GCW are then in London the next day on the Sunday. That's the 26th. And then obviously it'd be amiss of me if I didn't mention that Super Strong Style 16, which is Progress's biggest show of the year. 2 days on May 4th and 5th. Tickets are now available for that. And we've got, so much coming up, Joe. It's exciting times. And anyone who wants to catch up with the Mad Dog, I'll be at PEW Phenomenal Elite Wrestling in Stratford-upon-Avon on the 22nd of December. Only other thing to mention is a big shout out as well to Trev Moulton and the guys from Hooked on Wrestling who have a petition at the moment in the UK. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Joe, but obviously WWE is going on to Netflix.
Yep.
So normally in the UK, because it's on in the middle of the night for us, we tend to have watch parties in bars and clubs. But with it going on to Netflix, currently it looks like the watch parties where hundreds of wrestling fans all come together to watch together, it looks like they might not be able to go ahead when it goes on Netflix. So there's actually a petition in the UK at the moment set up by Trev. He set it up last Royal Rumble, but that's starting to gain a lot of attention over here because obviously people enjoy going to these watch parties, watching the wrestling together as a cohort and a group of friends. So if anyone can dive on and sign that petition, I'll also put the link for that in the comments below. And it'd be great if we can get some people from the States giving us a follow and sharing that as well. I don't know if you'll be in a similar situation in the States with the WWE screening on Netflix.
I heard some weird rumors that they're gonna bring the pay-per-views with them. I heard something about I hope they're not taking away Peacock because this is crazy. My parents got me Peacock to watch WrestleMania one year, and now I'm like, cool, I can watch not NWA. Vince didn't buy that one too. I could watch like all the WWF stuff, the WCW stuff, NWA stuff, the old stuff, all the old WWF shows I've been watching. Saturday Night Main Event. Can't wait to that to return.
With Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. Oh man, yeah, it's kind of cool. I like Jesse. I love Jesse. I love his. I was watching, but I really hope that they don't take the pay-per-views because I enjoyed watching Survivor Series War Games like the last pay-per-view. But I just hope I can't miss out on the Rumble because I was watching the Rumble from 92, 93 when Undertaker made his
It was one of the best ones, wasn't it? That was absolutely amazing. It was that was one of my that was such a cavalcade of talent in that one with people like Davey Boy Smith, Texas Tornado, obviously Macho Man, Ric Flair, Hogan, Sid. That was just an amazing one. Shout out obviously to the Mountie as well and Big Sergeant Slaughter. All great people who've had the chance to meet for the love of wrestling.
Mad Dog, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast to help me out, send us off in a proper way. Even though a few days ago I thought it was the last live, I just felt like the live wouldn't have been ending. The live season wouldn't have been itself but I know YouTube would have been like, so you're ending your live, so now your streaming sound is not going to look as good for next year. So I was like, what, YouTube,
you want in
a sneak that one last live in. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mad Dog. As I listen to Mad Dog on the sports radio, also he's funny. He's a sports talk radio guy. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, fans. And I'll see you in 2025. And I will see you in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.